Something I discuss on this channel often is the cultural pendulum. That's where, we were in the far left with Obama, and as Trump continues to go along, that pendulum swings back to the right. And there is no greater example of that pendulum swing right now than J.K. Rowling right here. J.K. Rowling wrote the Harry Potter series, which I never got into it. Was like I didn't even know knew it existed because it came out like well past my young adult years, so I wasn't really too beat for that. You guys, but really quickly before we get into this, I do want to put y'all on a little bit to my man right here, Donald Goins, because he wrote a ton. The books that I read at that age range were his books, okay? Donald Goins was an African-American writer of urban fiction. His novels were deeply influenced by the work of Iceberg Slim, okay? And he died in 1974. But let's check out some of his books right quick. Oh, Daddy Cool. I've literally read every single one of these. Whore Son, Dope Fiend, Black Girl Lost, Black Gangster, Crime Partners, Street Plays, Daddy Cool, Kenyatta's Last Hit, Never Die Alone, Inner City Hoodlum, El Dorado Red, Cry Revenge, Kenyatta's Escapes, Swamp Man, White Man's Justice, Black Man's Grief, and Death List. I've literally read all of these books, and it's urban fiction. Hell of a writer, but that was my wizarding world, okay? Like, it's far more based in the reality in which we lived, in the reality in which he lived back in the 60s and 70s. So when it comes to the writing, I never got into it, but I really wanted to let you guys, maybe you might see Donald Goins or Donald Goins' book and be like, let me pick that out. Let me check that one out. All right. So now let's get into what's gotten Miss Rowling here, Miss J.K. Rowling, Miss Rowling here into a little bit of hot water. Let's go. So here's the tweet she put out. If sex isn't real, there's no same-sex attraction. If sex isn't real, the lived reality of women globally is erased. I know and love trans people, but erasing the concept of sex removes the ability of many to meaningfully discuss their lives. It isn't hate speech to speak the truth. Bravo to you. Bravo. That pendulum swung like 2 or 3 more centimeters with this, because she was like, 3-4 years ago, she was going buck. Wow. She turned everybody alphabetical in her books. But now, something that I discuss on this channel a lot is how gender in and of itself it's flawed science. It really is. It is not any concept that should have been given the merit or weight that it has been. If you look up John Money, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you haven't looked up John Money again, get to it, okay? I can't do all the homework for you. Rowling is calling out the alphabetical folks that think sex is just a social construct. And that's the weird thing, because there's so much projection in that. Gender is actually the social construct that they've constructed in order to subvert biology, which is sex. And therefore not real. But she stands by the fact that it is. And like sex, biological sex isn't real. That is a concept from the far left. Left represents insanity, right represents order. All right? The reason the orders have been in place for as long as they have, all of these, oh my goodness, the gender roles and all that other grievance study nonsense that they like to complain about, it's there in order to be organized. And so our communities and our families, we can all get on the same page. We can all be operating, somewhat on the same playbook. Unfortunately, when you are a part of this ideological cult, which is leftism, like reality it's whatever you so desire it to be. And that is no way to live. I'm sorry. The idea that women like me, who've been empathetic to trans people for decades, feeling kinship because they're vulnerable in the same way as women, but they're not women. We're not the same thing. We are not. I'm sorry. It's not, and that's a fact. That's a scientific fact that we have different brains, our bodies function differently, and there's literally nothing wrong with that. But when you are in this reality that many people have built for themselves, that eschews any type of any shared reality that we have, then when you go to appease these people, make no mistake, they will come after you. I.e., to male violence, hate trans people because they think sex is real and has fit and have lived consequences. This is a nonsense. I like to give space to read. She's basically firing. She's basically firing back for all the time she's been canceled. That's Memology's idea. Despite her public support for trans people. I respect every trans person's right to live any way that they feel that feels authentic and comfortable to them. I'd march with you if you were discriminated against on the basis of being trans. At the same time, my life has been shaped by being female. I do not believe it's hateful to say so. JK, it isn't. It isn't. You should have never given in to these people in the first place. They're nuts. Those are facts. Too bad people don't care about facts. Here come the replies. Literally, no one said the concept of sex or women is erased. The only thing erased here is you, erasing the legitimacy of trans folks. Please reconsider where you stand here for trans folks and for so many who used to idolize you. Okay, see, that's the thing. Let's not have idols, all right? No false prophets. My goodness. Don't put people up on pedestals. Maddie, Eisenberg. Ironic, because the bullshit term woman does erase women. And I couldn't agree more. But the thing is, they think they cute. Is this gender studies nonsense where they think they cute by trying to get the like by removing the vowel? Oh, we can get rid of the men. It's all a part of that, feminist the feminist ideology with intersectionality all wraps in together. Man, we gotta defund our schools, but defund these universities. Please talk to some queer people. Please. I'm pretty sure she's talked to tons of queer people. But the deal is that isn't queer and trans different things? I don't know. Like this made up science that you guys all are, operating on makes literally no sense. I say this as someone who literally has your words tattooed on my skin. Well, why would you give yourself a tattoo like that? I am begging, not demanding, but pleading with you to please stop using your platform in this way. You are actively hurting children who admire you with your words, the very thing that drew them to you. So, okay, so guys, here's the thing. The children themselves don't even know J.K. Rowling exists. They're like they like the Harry Potter universe. Even though I think like they're I'm pretty sure there's something that's come along and has supplanted it by now as far as the number one YA thing, and it's just a bunch of adults being butthurt. But the like as far as children are concerned, if they are into the Harry Potter series, then they like Harry Potter. J.K. Rowling really doesn't matter to anybody but the adults in this situation. Well, quote unquote, I don't even feel comfortable calling these people adults. How about we just say, people with pubes? There we go. I assure you, they do not love you back. Oh my goodness, man! Out the feelings, man, out the feelings. But that's the thing. This is why it's really dangerous and not a great idea to take the internet, but so seriously, seriously, particularly Twitter. because it's just a cesspool of nonsense. But this is her playground. These are the people that she bent over and changed her characters for. So yeah, it's kind of a bit of a comeuppance for you there, JK. We're not saying sex isn't real. We're saying it's different from gender. Yeah, because gender doesn't exist. My assigned sex at birth was male, but I identify as a woman. Sex is in the fun bits. Gender is in the brain. Oh my goodness, gender is, you're right, it is in the brain. It is some psychological, so it is a psychosis. I 100% agree with that. But no, sex is the brain as well. Biology is the brain, and sex is, that's the main difference. Gender was brought in to completely subvert biology, which encapsulates sex. My goodness, these folks. Contradictory statements from entitled schmucks. Yeah. They erase her experiences as a woman by demanding her to shut the fuck up, which is true. It's like the whole situation with the Connecticut teams running. They like there is a reason there's two separate divisions because of the biological realities and differences between men and women. But to have men go and compete in the women's division, it does erase the women's division. But once again, we've had, like, let's say the 90s. I want to go into like particularly Bill Clinton's era, where they started switching out biology for gender on government forms, which psychologically conditioned us into believing that this was legitimate. Yeah, so like you have what, 90s, about going on 40 years now of this being, placed as some type of like real and legitimate science when it never should have been given the credence that it has from jump. And so it's really interesting to watch, like I said, the cultural pendulum swing back in the opposite direction because, Obama only accelerated that. Bush, when it came to Bush, he was just like, whatever. Like he really wasn't too concerned about it. But Obama really pushed the push that button even harder during his administration. So now it's time for that pendulum to swing back in the other direction. And as it does, I do want to salute J.K. Rowling for stepping up and saying, like, look, man, you can't sit here and say that this observable fact that men and women are completely different can be like, it doesn't do harm to mainly the females that you're looking to erase, because that's what gender does. Gender is erasing the differences between us that actually are the which actually is our nature, which makes us work in tandem as a collaborative effort. So with that being said, we're going to bring this one to an end. All the internet stuff. If you liked it, toss it a like, dislike, go ahead, do that too. Nobody's scared of you. Sub if you enjoy my fantastic voice and want to get videos like this every single day. Share, because sharing is caring, and YouTube and Bitchute and like aren't the biggest fans of your boy over here for very obvious reasons. Bang the bell for notifications and speak. Let me know. What do you guys think in the comments? Like, yo, props to J.K. Rowling. If you haven't looked up John Money, I would suggest that you do, as well as the little Donald Goyne section that we had going on in here, because he's a fantastic writer, and his books really put a lot of what was taking place back then in that era into perspective for me. And I think it's a part of the reason why I am more appreciative of where we are as a nation, completely as a nation now than we were back then during his time. So, a little something for everybody in this one. By all means, let me know what you guys think in the comments. And until the next one.